Hi, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about trusts. Now, trusts can be a powerful tool in organizing your assets to make sure they get passed on to the correct people and potentially reduce inheritance tax, which at 40% is one of the largest taxes in the UK, as well as solving the problems of care fees and divorce. So let's understand what a trust is, what the different types of trusts are, and some of the reasons people actually use trusts. Hi, I'm Mike with MP Estate Planning, helping you hold on to your money. There are many different types of trust, and your situation will determine what type of trust is best for you. We'll look at the different types of trust later in this video, but fundamentally, a trust is a legal arrangement where your trustees can manage an individual's assets. To have a trust, there are minimally three parties: the settlor, the trustees, and the beneficiaries. The settlor is the person setting up the trust and contributing the assets into the trust. The actual trust is a document called a trust deed, which outlines how the trust assets are to be used. The next party are the trustees, and a trust requires a minimum of 2 trustees. Trustees take ownership of the assets from the settlor, and they ensure the management of these assets is for the benefit of the persons I'm about to mention next, which is our third party, the beneficiaries. The beneficiaries are the individuals that benefit from the trust. Now, these three roles can all be the same person, but it is often better to spread the roles around the family. Most trusts have different family members as trustees and beneficiaries. A settlor can also act as a trustee, which keeps you in control. But usually, you want your trustees to be people that will outlive the settlor. There are different kinds of assets the settlor can place into a trust, and this can be cash, property, fine art, stocks, shares, boats, airplanes. Anything that can be owned can be placed into trust. There are many reasons why an individual might want to set up a trust. Most people think trusts are for the rich or people with inheritance tax problems, but they solve for much more common problems like care fees and divorce. Since most families don't have an inheritance tax problem, holding on to your home and not losing it to care fees is much more important. Putting your home into trust years in advance means it's much more likely your home goes to your children and not the local authority. Divorce is also a big problem. At 42% in the UK, the divorce rate is almost a coin flip. And it's heartbreaking for parents to see half of their life's work walk out the door with Mr. or Mrs. Wrong. A trust can stop your assets ending up in your child's future divorce settlement. As for inheritance tax, a trust is a great way to reduce the size of your estate for inheritance tax calculations. Your estate is the total of all of your assets less all of your liabilities, or everything that you owe. So it's everything you own less everything you owe. Reducing your estate legally can reduce your inheritance tax, and that's 40% that can go to your children and doesn't have to go to the government. Check out my inheritance tax strategies video if you want to learn more about how to protect your estate from inheritance taxes. Please note, it's a common misconception that a trust will instantly and automatically eliminate all your inheritance taxes. That's not true. But with careful planning, we can reduce or eliminate inheritance taxes. Bear in mind, these strategies can take up to 7 years, but huge savings are generated within 36 months. Another reason for getting a trust is to look after a beneficiary who is too young, but you want your assets to be passed on to your children once they come of age. Or another reason is to support someone who is unable to take care of their own affairs. This could be somebody who's suffering from some form of incapacity or declining health or has a disability. Trusts are a great way to protect means-tested benefits. And all that said, trusts are generally used just to manage assets, get them down to your children in the most cost-efficient and tax-efficient way possible. So there are many types of trusts that are available, with each having its own rules, which means some trusts are better situated for certain scenarios than others. I'll mention the most common types of trusts in this video, otherwise we could be here all day. And I'll be sure to leave a link in the description if you want more information on trusts. First up are bear trusts. That's B-A-R-E, not B-E-A-R as in bear. And they're probably the most simple type of trust there is. How a bear trust works is all of the assets are owned by the trustees, but the beneficiary has an absolute right to claim the assets and benefits when they reach the age of majority or the age of 18. And it's 16 if you're in Scotland. Usually, once a bear trust is established, the beneficiary cannot be changed. This means the trustee has little control over when the beneficiary receives their assets. This is quite useful when you're looking to pass assets on to younger children and you need somebody to act as a custodian or a trustee of those assets until they reach the correct age. The second type of trust is called an interest in possession trust, and here there are two different types of beneficiaries of this trust. Now, the purpose of this type of trust is that whatever income or interest that the assets have created, less taxes and fees, must get paid to the named beneficiary of that type of trust. So they have an interest in the possession, but they don't get the ownership of the possession, if you see why it's called interest in possession. And they can continue to receive this interest or this income for a period of time, normally the rest of their lives, but sometimes people limit it to 2 years or 10 years or 5 years. So the income beneficiary is one of the two types of beneficiaries of an interest in possession trust. The other type of beneficiary is the capital beneficiary, or the people that will receive the capital once the interest portion has been completed, be it time or death. And that means that the actual ownership of the assets will pass to the capital beneficiaries after the interest portion has been completed. In most common cases, the capital beneficiaries will only inherit the assets once the interest beneficiaries have passed away. This is incredibly useful with the new blended family. That is, two people get married, have kids from previous relations. You want to leave the income to your spouse, but then after your spouse has passed away, you want the asset to go down to your children. And finally, the most common type of trust out there is called a discretionary trust. This is where the trustees can make certain decisions about how to apply the benefits to the beneficiaries. Here, the trustees can decide how much of the income and capital is paid out to beneficiaries, and of course, the beneficiaries can also be trustees. This can be very helpful in situations where you have an individual who needs extra help or may be on means-tested benefits or may have problems managing money. The trustees can help to ensure that the money does not get lost. I've often heard clients say, Mike, if I got a bunch of money by the time I was 18, I'd have nothing by 19. Might be helpful to have a trustee that can help to manage that deliverable so that the money doesn't disappear. These are the main types of trusts, and there are several more. Some trusts are a hybrid of what I've mentioned, and there can be overlap in the sorts of specific duties or functions that they can perform. Be sure to check out my other videos for more advice and knowledge on estate planning. So how do you get a trust, and how much should you budget? When you're ready to create a trust and need some guidance on what type of trust is going to work for your specific situation, I highly recommend you speak with a specialist estate planner. Because trusts are important legal documents, the wording in them has to be precise. There can't be any room for ambiguity. You need a specialist trust advisor. The law, like medicine, is so broad, you wouldn't want your GP acting as your surgeon. Likewise, a generalist high street solicitor may not have the same depth of understanding for taxes and know-how on trusts as a specialist. As for costs, prices vary depending on the complexity of the trust. Is there tax planning involved? What is it you're trying to actually achieve? I think we are the first and only company in the UK to actively publish all of our prices on YouTube. You're welcome to go to our channel and have a look at our 2022 and 2023 price lists. Most people appreciate the transparency and have commented on this and told us this directly. The easiest way to ensure that you're getting a fair price is to compare trusts to the price of care fees in the UK, with care costing about £1,700 a week at present. Therefore, it's smart to budget between 2 weeks and 4 weeks of care fees for your trust, depending on what type of trust you need. But you will likely recoup all of the investment with the care fees savings if you put the home into trust years ahead of care. And while these costs are generally a one-time fee, consider it a fee over the course of your lifetime and the lives of your children, as trusts can last for up to 125 years. So welcome to 2024. That's it for this week's episode. Let me know in the comments section below if you have any more questions. And if you found the video helpful, smash that like button. It's the easiest way to help another family in the UK. I release a long-form video every week, so click on the subscribe button if you want to learn more. See you later.